Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, or good morning, good afternoon, depends on where you are coming from around the world. Like I said, literally here at Top Gun Options, we have, I think at last count, 39 countries represented here. So welcome aboard. We're going to do some training tonight. The market's closed. We had an absolute blast this afternoon. Probably, well, we always try and have a great time in all of our live trade briefs. I haven't had that much fun in a while. As I think we kicked off the webinar and the live trade brief, the Dow was down like $1.50, and at the high point, it was down almost 600 points. And we watched as a bull put spread that we had on volatility literally go from about $1,400 to $3,000. It was fun. We had fun this afternoon. If you missed it, make sure you watch the replay, and I'm going to show you where the replay page is in a couple minutes because, as you know, everything's recorded here at TGO and archived on our website. So this afternoon, I opened these early, folks, just because, like I said, last night we even had in the welcome aboard brief people asking how they become members, which is great. And I know some folks who immediately grabbed their slots this afternoon didn't get a slot in January. We opened 50 full throttle slots in January, and then we go to work, folks. We close the doors here. We get airborne and we get on our mission. So I know some of you, after we say we have 50 and we shut the door, it's funny how people call up and say, "Hey, the answer's no." So we opened 25 this afternoon. There's only 16 remaining. So 9 of them went, and I know there's a bunch of voicemails on the customer support line. So there might be more. So I guarantee you, we probably, we won't have 50 slots, but what I'm saying is I guarantee you that based on the interest in a lot of the questions that are being asked and a lot of active people, it sounds like you guys want to get on board here at TGO, which is great. So we're going to definitely be full by tomorrow afternoon by the time we close. So here's where you need to go. Go.topgunoptions.com/get OWS. That's pretty easy. Get Options Weapon School. Real quick, let me just give you a roadmap because this afternoon I did mention full throttle. The reason I mentioned full throttle, and I'll allow you to grab that, is because this is what Options Weapon School. Let me just do this. So here's the, and if you're a skier, you'll kind of understand the symbols here. Here's our flight schedule on a weekly basis. Mondays at 1 o'clock, we do a weekly options live trade brief. And I showed you what happened last week. In one day, we made, what was it, $2,200. That's ugly looking. I'm not even going to try. We made $2,200 in a day on Amazon. We closed it Tuesday afternoon, last Tuesday afternoon in the primary live trade brief. So weekly options, definitely more tactical. We put them on one day. As we saw last week, we can take it off in the next day. We can take it off 10 minutes later. We can hold it until Friday. Just depends on how the trade's looking, right? So that's Monday at 1 o'clock. That's weekly options. Then on Tuesday, we do what's called the primary live trade briefs like we did today. Kind of got tight on time because we had a great discussion on volatility, literally live as it was happening in front of us. And I also gave you a little bit of a lesson on volatility about what? Market up, VIX up, something's up. I took us in our time machine back to June of 2013 when the VIX went from 12 to 24. And I trapped about 98% of you. Obviously, my current members got the right answer, but 90% of the new folks said, when I said, did the market go up or down during that time period, when the VIX doubled, and you all walked right into my ambush saying the market went down. It didn't. It was going up because that was the first Fed meeting where people thought Ben Bernanke was going to start to taper, right? He was going to, last call, all the market drunks were going to freak out. So this was awesome. So we had a great time today. So we got one trade, a long call diagonal on Raytheon, and I'll show you where you can see that. Then on Wednesdays we have what's called accelerated retirement. Okay, and as you can see, a little bit, it's not that weekly options, Black Diamond, oh, it's an expert. It's just more tactical, folks. Instead of doing a month-long, bear call spread on Facebook, maybe we do a week-long bear call spread. So it's a little bit more sporty. That's it. Accelerated retirement is a little bit more conservative, right? It's, it's a lot more, conservative, hedging, and all sorts of stuff. And then analyze your trade, and we debrief the week on Thursday at 1. So that's its own. So these are the model portfolios. If you want to get access to all of these, so if you want to do all of this stuff, that's called full throttle. Okay. Options, and it's more expensive. Options Weapon School, you're going to get this and maybe this if you want. Okay, this is obviously a little bit more, and I'll show you the page. So hopefully that clears up any confusion. Full throttle, and I'll show you where that page is. You get the full Monty, essentially, all of this stuff. Options Weapons School. Let me get rid of that. Sorry. Options Weapons School is about half of it, and it's about half as much money. So everybody should be giving me a vertical head nod if you have any questions. So there's the 4 live trade briefs throughout the week. And let me show you let's just go with the replay page real quick. Here's the replay from this afternoon. This is where we covered Raytheon and the spread. And then here's the replay from our welcome aboard brief last night. Here's the sales page for Options Weapons School. And here's the sales page for Full Throttle. Okay, so let me throw all the links in here. And my phone's buzzing. It's kind of, what is that? It's a Wonderful Life, always on around Christmas. Every time a bell rings, an angel gets its wings. Every time my phone buzzes, that means somebody just grabbed a slot. So literally, as we're sitting here, people are grabbing these. Yeah, absolutely, Terrence. You can upgrade whenever you want. So over here on the Full Throttle, this is defensive, offensive, and max. 80% of the TGO current members are in this one, are in the Full Throttle max. And I showed you just essentially in 3 days, a trade on VXX was up in front of our eyes today, $3,000 on one trade. Unlimited risk, wasn't it? It was on about $4,900 in risk. So this is what I highly recommend for folks. And let me put this in the chat box as well. And it's pretty easy. Get FT. Go to topgunoptions.com/get FT. And then we're going to get airborne here in a little bit because I'd rather talk about that stuff than this stuff. Virginia sent Susie an email for membership. Okay, Virginia, she will hook you up. And folks, remember, you don't have to call. There's absolutely zero reason to call. I mean, if you have a question, you can give us a call, but you ask it now. There's really no reason to type the phone lines. This is, welcome to the internet. You can order on the internet here. It's not. She is Sue. Susie is awesome. So Sue says Susie is awesome. Anything else to cover? Oh, here's the post from today. This is actually the member post. You guys should have gotten this via email, but I'll post this in the chat box as well because it has a copy. Here's where the Raytheon trade is. Where are we? Primary live trade briefs. And so here it is, Raytheon. So if you and I sent the text alert out today. So here's the. Let me copy this. So here's the. There's a screenshot of the Raytheon trade. There's the trade itself. There's the metrics, and then the replay is also posted on this page. So here is the link to view today's trade, the Raytheon trade. Okay. The easiest thing to do is sign up and grab your slot, and then you get access to all this stuff. But it's all right here. 24 April, primary live trade brief. New Raytheon trade and volatility pops with our VXX trade. This was a really, really, really good session this afternoon. I'm very happy with what we did here. One of the benefits that I always forget to brief that you get as a member here is access to this, the ready room. Remember, folks, in the ready room of a fighter squadron, that's where you hang out. There's couches. It's kind of like the living room of a fighter squadron. And I learned probably more about flying and fighting the Hornet in the ready room than I did from any book. Okay, so in here, there's a post on the SPX parade, assignment. There's talks about brokers in here, all sorts of stuff. Volatility, Wizros right, crazy week, Brazil, ExxonMobil. So you can get in here and interact with your fellow traders. Hey man, I'm taking a look at this trade, rip it apart. Where's it going to go wrong? Can you help me out? And all this type of stuff. So this is called the Ready Room, and it's our interactive forum. So this is a it's not like it costs extra. You get access to this thing, and this is pretty damn cool. So make sure after you become a member, you can go through here and take a look at all the different topics and stuff like that. There's a great topic or a great thread in here on brokers and commissions and all sorts of stuff. Bull put spread versus a long call diagonal, Netflix, any Canadians? There's a big Canadian thread. Okay. Any other cats and dogs? Oh, by the way, before we get airborne, you got to love when the head of the top of the Drudge Report says this. Look at the Drudge Report, folks. Stocks tank on earnings. Who said this was going to happen? I did. Well, I thought a couple weeks or 3 weeks ago you said this we were having a blue collar rally. I did, and then last week I said what this we're running out of airspeed. Last Wednesday, right there when we popped through this 50-day moving average, what did I say? When the bank stocks reported record earnings, what did I say? Oh man, this is not good. If Goldman, Morgan Stanley, and J.P. Morgan earnings, we're yawning at that, we're screwed, and we're going to head down. And we threw that hedge on. I said you got it, Gerald. I said that yesterday too. So, Virginia, I saw that. I saw your email after market hours. Yeah, Herbalife changed its name to whatever it was after hours. I didn't see what the stock did. I don't follow Herbalife, but it is funny. Settings on my Keltner channel. I think I'm was it 2 and 20 or something like that. Let me take a look. Gilbert, Options Weapons School. It has one session a week. It's the primary live trade brief, unless you do what? If you just do this one right here, it's one session a week. This one is the 2 sessions a week because you do weekly options. So this is the primary live trade brief essentially, and this is the primary live trade brief plus weekly options. Does that make sense? Everybody understand that? So yes. You bet. So, and again, folks, the reason I'm not trying to confuse you with bringing up Full Throttle, but what happens is when you get here and it's next week and I say, hey, I'll see a lot of you guys tomorrow for an accelerated retirement, and half of you go, the hell's that? Where's my link to get in there? It's like you didn't pay for that, so we're not a charity. So that's why I'm briefing you on Full Throttle. That if you want access to everything that we do here, you can do that. Keltner channel settings. Somebody was asking me. Let me bring that up real quick. I think it is 5 and 50. Yeah, here it is. Okay, what are we going to do tonight? When you get access to Options Weapons School or Full Throttle tonight, when you become a member, or before we close the doors tomorrow afternoon after our brief, you're going to get access to, not only are you going to get access to the last, when was it, January? We just wrapped up. It was in February I wrapped up. In February, I wrapped up the folks who joined us in January. We did 8 training sessions, and like I said, there's 7, from about 7 to 9 o'clock at night, or 7, 8, however long however long it takes for everybody in that room to go, I got this, man. And here's what's really cool about this. We charge non-members $495 just to attend these classes. For you, as long as you're an Options Weapons School or Full Throttle person, you get access to these for the entire time you're a member. Where's Fish? Fish has been here for like 4, 5, 6 years. And what's that, 6 time? If we do these 3 times a year, do the math, folks. So this is a great benefit. You just don't get your 8 sessions when you become a member, and then the next time I do this, we lock you out of the room. No. How many times have met, exactly, who was that? Steve just said, Wiz, been here 3 years, and every time you do these trainings, I learn something more. That's like me and the Hornet, folks. I had nearly 3,000 hours in the F-18. Every flight that I landed from, I learned something about the airplane or something else. So you guys get continuous access to whenever we do this. Thank you, Tamara, and you learn something every time. Exactly. Tamara's been here, a year and a half, or whatever it is, and she comes to all these. So what I'm going to do tonight is give you a sample of kind of the middle of the road. I'm not going to sit here because I did a poll last night. I'm not going to sit here and do this is a call, this is a put. Because half your eyes will glaze over. I'm not going to get in here and do iron condors or double verticals because the other half of the room is going to go, what the hell is that? So I'm going to try and go right down the fairway here and maybe pick a bear call spread or something like that to do training. One thing about training, folks, is that especially in the military, you never do a training exercise without what? A real world brief. Like, here's what's going on in the world. Because why are we doing this training? So you want to have some sort of real world application, and so I'm going to give us a quick strategic brief. Most of you are in the brief this afternoon, but a lot happened this afternoon, even after I got talking. Okay, Elaine, just get everything, and then you won't be confused. Elaine, if you don't mind, I'm going to show everybody what you said. So that's exactly right. Elaine nailed it, folks. That's why I'm trying to point in this direction, folks, to do the full throttle max afterburner and just get access to everything, man. Even if you're not kind of ready to trade weekly options, it's every Monday afternoon at 1. I kind of brief what's going to go on for the rest of the week, right? And it's a good idea. So listen to Elaine. It's kind of Elaine's a smart woman. So is Tamara there. Anybody who says, hey, I learned something new each time is a smart person. Okay, so there's the head of the Drudge Report. Stocks tank on earnings. Ladies and gentlemen, I told you, and sitting here when literally I was out at spring break skiing with my kids when this shit show happened, right? Facebook. I remember being on it was in the gondola. I was in tears laughing as Facebook imploded. That was a career call for me. I made this call back here. I said, dump the fangs, especially Facebook. And then, but as we bounced around this 200-day moving average, I said, we're going to bounce off this, which we did, but this blue collar climb here. And I said, the only thing is pulling us up. This is to channel my inner Barack Hussein Obama. Let me put like Q1 up here. Like this was hope. This was the hope rally. You see this rally off the 200-day moving average? This was the hope rally. Now we're getting the change rally, okay? Because I think we set the bar so high for Q1 earnings that there's no way in hell we were going to hit this. What did I predict last night in the welcome aboard brief? I said, even if Google earnings are disgustingly good, I said the only thing that might save this if the FANG earnings are epic. And then I put like an air comma, or I caught myself and said, well, to be honest with you, I don't even think disgusting earnings out of the FANGs are going to save this. Didn't I say that? Yep. So, Chris, I'm saying that tongue in cheek. Look at this rip your face off rally. Look at that one. This was all based on emotion. This was, holy crap, trade war. No, Larry Kudlow on the White House lawn saying, no, we're not going to have trade. This is stupidity in here. A blue collar climb means this was work. Okay, good unemployment news, inflation data, housing numbers, good financials, and it's really not enough. That's what I mean by blue collar, right? It's not using it as pejorative. I'm just talking about that. So, Terrence, it's still a correction. It's not a reversal yet. It takes 20. Exactly. Well, folks, right now I'm not the only dude or lady looking at this stuff. Zip through the 50. Through the 50 again, we're heading back down to the 200. I would love to think, even if Amazon, there's no way on God's, we're going to talk about Facebook tonight because it's my favorite stock to hate right now. We were in our trade brief this afternoon when it's like, hackers stole everybody's data and the thing is dead. And it's dead money. But look at this right now. The Dow futures are down 600 points from overnight highs, and the NASDAQ is plunging. What's the NASDAQ? That's tech stocks, baby. This ain't good. So look at the, what's it, the E-minis? E-mini Dow futures. That is not a good-looking chart. So our VXX trade that I put on last Thursday, risking about $4,900 to potentially make $4,800, man. This trade is, I said, and I put it in the text alert, didn't I? I said, hey, man, I'm going to hang on to this. And these VIX, somebody look up, well, we can do this together. I said, hey, get long some May 2nd, 13.5 VIX calls. $3.25. Let's see what they're priced at right now in a couple minutes. And then this is the bull put spread that I put on right here on VXX. Oh, sorry. The 40.5, 39.5 so risking $5,200 to potentially make $4,800. I believe by Friday this trade's going to make $4,800 in about a week. And that, let me get a hell yeah if you wouldn't have minded being here in this webinar on Thursday and made $4,800. So, all right, so let me get back to real world. So let's do a quick strategic and operational brief. So this ain't looking too hot, folks. I got to be honest with you, Donald Trump used a language today that I just don't necessarily agree with. He's actually, but here's the good thing about this. He's listening to somebody. When he used the words the other day like, well, if it's not a good brief, I will respectfully get up and leave the meeting. That ain't Donald Trump. That ain't the New York real estate developer I know, or my sister knows really well, who would say something like that. He'd like, if it sucks, I'm out. And no, that dude, forget it. Hugh, little rocket man, he's couching all of this. And today he said, this man has performed recently, honorable, or however he said it. I almost spit my coffee out. I'm like, it's like a year ago when he said I'd be honored to sit down with that guy. I freaked the hell out. This guy starves his people, man. He killed his half brother in an airport in Malaysia with what was it? Sarin wiped a handkerchief across his face. North Korean agents, and dude convulsed to death. He just doesn't want to. That almost looks like a rope. He doesn't want to be at the end of a rope. So that happened this afternoon when the president was talking with his man bro or his man crush, Macron. So this is. There's a storm of brewing here, okay? And we also covered this in our brief this afternoon. Is this VX Nerve Gas? Thanks. Yields on the 10-year treasuries went above 3% today. I'm not going to beat all the stuff into the dirt. If you missed this afternoon, you have to watch the replay. But I briefed about 5, 6 canaries in the coal mine, little flashing red lights that told me that this was going to happen last week when we did this. So make sure you absolutely watch the replay. So the yield crossing 10%. The VXX, look at this. The biggest inflows. The biggest people are jumping, not necessarily people, but institutions are jumping into the VXX. Why? The end of low volatility is over. Again, watch the replay from this afternoon. I'm going to say it 90 times. The rally has hit the wall. Okay, so the tactic. How do you get the afternoon replay? It is right here, folks. There it is. You go so everybody look in the chat box. Please click on this and save it to your favorites or something. So I don't have to keep. It's right here, guys. And this replay that we're doing right now will be up. I don't know, as soon as we get done in an hour or so. Okay. There's the replay, and obviously you can click on these green buttons on the replay to grab your slot to go to the OWS page. Okay. But here's what we're going to talk about tonight. Like I said, on the Full Throttle or Options Weapons School page, you can see the 8 training sessions you're going to get access to, right here. So I'm going to go right in the middle here. You know what I'm going to do? And it's I love how my current members come to these things. This is a free webinar for folks to see if they want to become members. There's a ton of my members in here. You know why? Like Tamara said, or Elaine, they're smart women. They said, you know what? I'm going to go to the spread training tonight to see if I can pick anything up. And 98% of the time, what do? These are potentially actionable trades. Demo do. We might talk about this trade, this spread we're going to look at tonight in the weekly options brief. Even though it ain't going to be a weekly option, we're going to talk about this tomorrow. That's pretty cool. State dinner. All right. Here's what we're going to do, and it's going to shock some of my current members. You ready for this? Does anybody fear where we're going right here? We're going to do a bear call spread. Okay, and one of the things that's really frustrating, I know when you start out as an options trader just learning this stuff, the tactic that I'm going to use has 3 names. It's really, really, really annoying. It's a vertical spread. It is. It's a credit spread. It is. And it's a bear call spread. It is. I call things by what their strategic mindset is. If I'm bearish on something and I'm doing a spread, I'm going to call it that instead of a vertical spread or a credit or a debit spread. It's me. It's the tactic and it's the way I think. So let's do a little demonstration of what the training will be tonight. Okay. So, and this is going to shock some of you. I am going to do a bear call spread on, anybody want to guess over here? Facebook. This thing is done. Even if all my members are chiming in, I know we have earnings coming up. This is not an earnings trade. An earnings trade would be like doing something by Friday. When's earnings? 25th, tomorrow. So this, I'm going further out. I'm not doing this by Tamara. Actually, it's no surprise. Exactly. It is, Mark. This thing is toast. It's over with. Now, before I even get into the tactic, I'm going to warn you about something. The only thing that is going to save this stock is if Zuckerberg resigns. Look at Win. We made 20. Hold on. Since we start, let me go to Win for a second. And I can show you these. Uh, press the I believe button. I'm not going to dig through all my trades, but let me give you the little history of Win Resorts and the 27. Well, we lost to four, so 23,000. You ready for this, folks? In 3 months of trading. In 3 months of trading, just Win, we made $24,000 while never risking more than my SOP on any one trade. And a lot of those were what? Iron condors, meaning I thought this thing was going to stay in a range, right? We made 24 grand on Win. If you would like to make 24 grand in 3 months, exactly, give me a lot of hell yes there. What happened? We were in a live trade brief when breaking news, Steve Wynn is a pervert. I'm like, holy crap, everybody jump on this. Let's pound this into the dirt. Then it stopped for a day or two. And what did I say? Does everybody remember? That's exactly right, Steve. I said he has to resign, and that is going to make the stock. So bear call spread here, 2 grand. We put on a bull put spread here, and we closed this in 1 day. Why did I close this in a day? This was $1,000 here. We could have made 2 grand, but why did I get out of it immediately? Because that was the only good news that was going to be coming Win's way was, hey, the CEO resigned, and there ain't nothing else, folks, for a little bit. And then we iron condored it. So why am I ranting about Win and how good we did in it? Because of this. Just like with Tesla, just like with Facebook, those things ain't getting off the mat until those guys go. I talked to my current members about this last week in one of my briefs for a while. I'm not going to take up too much airtime about doing it, but listen to me. And I wrote where the hell's my book? If you want a copy of my book, just because you're an entrepreneur, folks, you come up with a great idea, doesn't mean you're a good skipper. Jerry Yang, I use this example. It's book. If you order one of these, I'll sign it for you, by the way. Jerry Yang at Yahoo, brilliant guy, great, came up with Yahoo, all that stuff. He sucked as the skipper, right? He sucked as the skipper. You guys can see my screen, can't you? Yeah. So he was awful, and then he came back when they were having problems, like, I'll save us, and he sucked even worse. Elon Musk, incredible entrepreneur, visionary. He's an awful CEO. CEOs don't send out tweets saying, I'm bankrupt. Oh, April Fools. There's a chart right there. I'll get back to Win in a second, but look at how, and Tamara and I have been talking about it. She's been pounding Tesla into the dirt. This slide for life was awesome. If you're investing in a stock where the CEO is making jokes about being bankrupt, when I think the dude actually is going to be in a couple quarters, that's what the stock does. This looks like Facebook, doesn't it? No, it's back. No, it's not. Okay, so Elon Musk is, God bless him. He's a great entrepreneur. He's a horrible skipper. Yeah, didn't I post the link? Yeah, if you want to, I will send you a copy of my book if you want it. And if you order from this page, not Amazon and stuff like that, I will I get to I'll personalize it. Yeah, sure, you bet, man. Send to all. There it is. So, and these are clips of me from my speaking tours when I do keynotes and stuff like that. Not to talk about what I'm getting at is I think I have a whole chapter on this, and Mark Zuckerberg is a perfect example of visionary, dorm room in Harvard, smart dude. He's an awful CEO. Anytime a CEO comes out and says, and this was after the hair on the back of my neck started to stand up, and I told everybody to dump it. Listen to me, folks. We had Jan 18 and Jan 19s on, folks. I thought profitable. This is great. Once the hair on the back of my neck started to stand up, I said, we're out. We're done. And right around here, when he did the whole Russian ads and we'll turn over all the stuff to the government, you know what he said publicly? He said, I don't care about profitability. I want to do good. I almost choked on my chicken sandwich or whatever I was eating. I'm like, what did he just say? 33-year-old Mr. Zuckerberg, you're the CEO of a publicly traded company. Look up the word fiduciary. You have a fiduciary duty to your shareholders to make money. You want to do good? You want to be a Boy Scout? Get a dog. I feel like Gordon Gekko right now. You want to do good? Take your company private. I'm one of your shareholders. I'm going to sue you because you are failing in your fiduciary duty to look out for me. So same type of thing with Elon Musk. So tonight I'm on a rant here, but I'm doing this because this is look at this stuff. Where's this was comical. First, you know what? You're right. Somebody reminded me. Let me go back to Win right here. So my point is, and we traded Win. This is when Enterprise and some other big lawsuit he and his wife were in got cleared, and they could finally sell their shares. So the next round of good news on Win was what? Hey, the dude can unload his shares. So and this was also a little bit of a short squeeze. What did I say? Short squeezes end. We sold a bear call spread right here. We had an absolute blast for the past 3 months trading Win, and we had an Iron Condor last week that expired for whatever it was, $4,800, along with a repair trade that took care of one of the bear spreads. So let me finish my rant on Tesla. And like I said, I rarely do long put diagonals with my members, but if you're itching for some bearishness, this is it. So Peter, I disagree with that, man. I get that it's a third of the world's population. My son Jack's sitting on the couch right there. My son Matthew's upstairs. They hate Facebook. I get that. Well, he owns Instagram. Instagram ain't Facebook, folks, as far as ad space. It's on this, by the way. Facebook, it's just, I just don't agree. It is not going to recover unless he resigns. We'll get back to Facebook in a second. Let me finish my Elon Musk bashing here. Hold on. Where's all my Elon Musk stuff? Oh, here it is. First of all, the state of California got their teeth in Tesla. Do a lot of bad workplace conditions. Okay, so Tesla probe and California ain't. Who was it? My spirit animal, Jeffrey Gunlock, yesterday when he was talking about Facebook, though, but he had a point. He's like, when the government comes knocking to regulate, there's only one thing that can happen: either zero regulations or you're going to get killed with regulations. Tesla, if it ain't trading like an auto company, it trades like a tech company. It should be trading at auto company prices. 3 weeks ago, I shared with you a report from my other spirit animal, JP Morgan. What did JP Morgan say about Tesla? JP Morgan said, buy disaster puts on Tesla. It is $100 stock. I could not agree more with the other love of my life, JP Morgan, when they said do that. So workplace conditions. Barclays ain't no dummies. They had an 89-page Tesla bashing report, but since we're idiots, we're dumb Americans and tech investors, they summarized it in 5 tweets. I'm not going to go through them all. They nailed it. You want the 89-page report? It's right here. It'll put you to sleep. I read most of it. Actually, to be honest with you, I read most of it because I wanted to see if these tweets were right. That's my job, not yours. But so there's bad news. The latest Model 3 shutdown should make investors nervous. I can't find one positive news story on Tesla, not one. Now, I get that the short interest in Tesla is giant. It's one of the most highly shorted stocks. Guess what, ladies and gentlemen? That's why we don't short stocks, or I've never have in my entire life. I am an options trader, right? Okay, done. So what do? We could go out in time. I'd give 6 months to a year. I would absolutely listen to JP Morgan and me and buy disaster puts on Tesla. I rarely do this, folks. I'd rather do spreads instead of just buying puts and let them sit there. I usually sell something else to help offset the cost. Not here, man. Buy disaster puts. I think it's I think it. Did anybody? Well, we're old enough. Everybody ever see the movie Back to the Future? What do you think this is? Harry, damn, I missed half the rant. I'm just getting more warmed up here. Edward, it's you, man. There's not one person that's saying they have audio problems. I've seen you post that a couple times. That's why I'm not ignoring you. Nobody else says there's any audio problems. Maybe log out, log back in. So I would look at disaster puts on Tesla, and we can talk about this when you become a member, okay? And a bunch of people also just said no audio problems. Um, I kind of the reason I went off tangent with Win and with Tesla is to talk about the skipper. I started this off-topic rant about 5 minutes ago. Why? Because there is a threat to the trade that I'm going to show you. I don't think it's a big threat, but if this could happen tomorrow, folks. I got to be honest with you. What if tomorrow on the earnings call, Mark Zuckerberg says, "You know what? I love this company, man. I love it so much that I'm willing to move aside." Look at the CEO of Uber. Did everybody see that video of him? Wasn't he drunk or something? Yeah, one of his Uber drivers was driving him somewhere, and the guy went on an epic rant at this dude, yelling at him. He looked like an ass. What happened? He resigned, right? The board of directors was like, you know what? We need an adult. The current board of directors, uh, what did I say 2 days before this dude said this? We covered this actually literally live in a brief. 2 days before this guy was interviewed, what did I say? I said Zuckerberg needs to go. The New York City pension fund manager was on CNBC. He said Zuckerberg needs to get out of the chairman role. We need independent oversight. Mark Zuckerberg did a phone call a couple days after this, and when you actually have to answer a reporter's question that says, "Are you willing to resign?" And he goes, "I haven't even," he was programmed, right? He's data from Star Trek. His program, I haven't even thought about that. You know that is problems. Exactly. Who said that? HH. It reminds me of Enron. Sam, I'm not I never said Elon Musk wasn't a smart man. I said the exact opposite, folks. Listen to me. I said Elon Musk is a visionary. He's incredibly brilliant. Just because you're incredibly brilliant and you have a vision doesn't mean you can command a ship or a squadron or a company. I know brilliant people all the time that couldn't lead their way out of a paper bag. There's a difference between being the entrepreneur and the skipper. Order my book and you'll read about it. So I don't disagree. I'm agreeing with you. The dude's a smart dude. He can't run the company. Okay, here we go. In politics versus tech profits, investors are the losers. Twitter, folks, I can't stand it. I hate using it. It's full of liberals who shadow ban people like me for posting any sort of conservative content. It's awful. So exactly, Harry. And if you don't know what he called you, people who give him the information, he called you a dumb F, an F-U-C-K. You're a dumb F-U-C-K if you gave me your information. Here's another reason. I was furious. When was it? 2 weeks ago? We actually were in some of our live trade briefs when this robot was talking. The liberal media did what with his? How was the coverage of this? Thank God. Who did I see today? Somebody finally said, "Oh, it was yesterday." Did everybody watch the interview with Jeffrey Gundlach on CNBC when he said short Facebook yesterday? What did he say? He said, "Did you watch the hearing?" I swear to God, the guy's a member here, man. The stuff that comes out of my mouth comes out of his like a month or two after me. He said what? He's like, well, in this case, it was 2 weeks after. During the testimony, I'm like, this is I felt bad for Mark Zuckerberg. I'm like, the guy, it's awful. Well, why did everybody say he did so well? Well, when you're questioning a dude that gave you 200 grand for your campaign or 50 or 30 or whatever, that nearly $700,000 this dude donated to the people that were questioning him. And I'll just leave that there. So this is Terrence. So do you do this every quarter, taking on new members, or can I email you when I'm ready? I'm gone until after summer, but I love the way you're teaching. Yeah, Terrence, every couple months we do either a full throttle or an options weapons school launch. So yeah, but by the time you come back, we'll either have a full throttle opening or options weapons school. You bet, man. Yeah, exactly, Joe. No, it was exactly whoever said that. It was a softball interview. The only guy that was giving him hard questions was the dude from like Montana or Wyoming, one of those places. This robot sat here and did what? I have hired 10,000 people to monitor hate speech and blah, 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 blah. And what did the senator say? He's like, Mr. Zuckerberg, can you define hate speech? Senator, that's a good question, and I'll have my team get back to you. The dude can't even define what he hired 10,000 people to do. He sucks as a CEO. And he also admitted that, well, we do a lot of hiring in the Bay Area, so these people might be a little bit more liberal. He does, Terrence. The guy lives behind a huge wall, and he has armed guards around him at all times. But I'm no border wall, and I'm no Second Amendment. You can kiss my ass, Mark. So anyway, folks, softball questions. The interview sucked. 10%. This number is wrong. The latest number. Who was it? It was a UBS report. I got 90 tabs open. There's a UBS report that says it's about 20%. 20%. So whoever just said it's a third of the population of the Earth or something like that, it's dwindling rapidly. Elon Musk deleted his Facebook account and SpaceX or whatever it was. Steve Wozniak, the co-founder of Apple, deleted his Facebook account. After my Saturday mad walk for Mothers Against Drunk Driving, I'm probably deleting my Facebook account. I've had it. I want zero to do with this organization and this company. So this. And Jeffrey Gundlach said it perfectly yesterday because I said it before him. He said what? When there's one roach, there's many. And this afternoon, breaking news on CNBC and Fox Business about how 90,000 quadrillion people's data was hacked and sold on the black market or the whatever they call it, the dark web or something like that. Where the hell is it? So when the European regulators, blah, blah. There you go. Facebook might keep making tons of money, but now Wall Street's worried about user engagement. Kogan, he's a tech. I don't think Facebook has a developer policy that is valid. This is. Who wrote this? Facebook historically offers better post-market earnings trade for longs. This person is an idiot. Unless he resigns, and like Zuckerberg said yesterday, when the government comes in, it's not good. Never have I seen the government jump into anything, regulate anything, and do good. The one exception to that is what? Does anybody know the one exception to the government coming in and intervening or regulating? Does anybody know? Probably some of my more senior members might be able to answer that. Does anybody know? I'm talking about an individual stock. Let me give you a hint. Let's see if we can get to this because this is cool. John, you're close. John Howard, and you're down in Australia, you said. Isn't the Prime Minister John Howard? Not who got that? Hemmel put it right through the bullseye, Hemmel. You get the gold star for the night. It was AIG. Ladies and gentlemen of prospective Top Gun Options members, do you remember bailing out AIG to the tune? What was their bailout, ladies and gentlemen? We bailed out AIG to the tune of $180 billion. You, me, your kids, every taxpayer, everybody, we bailed out AIG. But it was more of a bailout. But I'm talking about the government came in. I mean, they had government dudes and ladies in AIG's offices. So this ain't, but that AIG was systemically critical to this. I wanted it to fail, but AIG's in insurance, reinsurance, and reinsurance. So them imploding obviously would have been bad. Facebook Donald Trump ain't riding to the rescue for Mark Zuckerberg, I guarantee you. So what I'm doing right now, if you have your trade plan handy that you downloaded over here in the little handout section, that was about a 20-minute commit criteria, and I apologize. But this is what we do during the training sessions, guys. This is here's your brief on why I'm doing this trade, so you have all situational awareness, man. I'm never going to throw a rifle at you or a trade and go, here, and you have a question mark over your head. So the threat to this bearish trade I'm going to tell you about, I really, based on Google, folks, and how good their earnings were and the stock sold off, I don't think Facebook can come out tomorrow, even if Mark Zuckerberg says, the only way Facebook pops in the short term is if he resigns. That's the threat to the trade I'm about to tell you. This is also this when I told everybody to get the hell out of the FANG stocks. I said what? First of all, Amazon ain't a FANG. I hate when people call it a FANG, but I will say if you are going to call it a FANG, this is the only one to get in. And then what did I brief? Does anybody remember back in October? What did I say the threat to this trade was? Somebody remind me. Some senior members. Steve, another gold star. That's exactly right. I said Donald Trump hates Jeff Bezos. I said it's remote. What's the president going to do? Order U.S. Marshals into Amazon headquarters? That's not going to happen. But I said right here, guys. I said Donald Trump is a potential threat. Right during the FANG or the Facebook and all that implosion. What did right here? Look at this. This is Mark Zuckerberg getting ripped apart. Jeff Bezos didn't say a word. Tim Cook over at Apple. We don't do what those weird dudes do at Facebook. We're not like them at all. Mark Zuckerberg, you're a liar. I love that back and forth, that 2-day back and forth between CEOs of Apple and Facebook and trying to out-limousine liberal each other. And then what happened? I thought we were fine until Donald Trump at 9:25 that morning started blasting away at Amazon. So what am I doing? I told you, this is why we call these a brief, guys. I'm warning you about everything that could potentially go right or wrong in a brief, right? So the threat, now let's get a little bit more tactical and start doing our training on the actual no-kidding tactic, okay? So even if you don't know a thing about options, does everybody understand why I'm looking at this bearish trade on Facebook? Does everybody, can you give me a vertical head nod? Joe, I don't disagree either. I think he is too egotistical to resign. But at the end of the day, if the board of directors are smart at Facebook, if I was on the board of directors, we'd be behind closed door meetings going, hey, dude, you got to go, man. We'll make up some fake role for you. So head of, Star Trek conventions, whatever it is, you're not getting fired. But you need, if he loved his company enough, if that happened to me, I would. I have a copy of my book. The last chapter in my book, folks, is lead, follow, or get out of the way. If you're going to lead the hell out of whatever you're doing. If you can't lead, or you don't want to lead, or you don't have the bandwidth, be the best damn follower in the world. And if you can't do either of those, get the hell out of the way. So Mark Zuckerberg has 3 choices. Either to lead the hell out of this thing, and the guy didn't say anything for 5 freaking days, man. The company got destroyed in the media. COO Cheryl Cook, who might have run for president in a couple years, you didn't hear a word. She has never met a camera she didn't talk to. You couldn't find that woman. I think she was on the other side of the moon. And when he did finally come out, he looked like an idiot. The initial apology sucked, and then the testimony sucked. So lead, follower, get out of the way. The only threat to this trade that I'm going to cover is it going up. And I'm pretty damn sure. Exactly. So it's time for him to go. But that's why, you ready for this? So I'm bearish on this trade. What could I do? And I'm going to go about a month out. What could we do? Exactly, Virginia. It was a borrowed suit, most likely. You're right. That dude looks so uncomfortable. His attorney said, you better wear a coat and tie, man. You go in there with your little gray, whatever, it's going to look very, very bad for you. Yeah, we could. So we could do what's called a bear call spread, right? We could say, you know what? There's the middle of this Keltner channel. I think Wiz is right. This thing ain't getting off the mat, at least for a little bit. And this thing's, we could do a bear call spread. We could also do a bear put spread, right? But you're going to learn that I don't like spreads that are called this, a debit spread. It's a debit spread, right? A bear put spread. I have to come out of pocket, man. I hate that term. You got to use my debit card. Man, that means I'm spending cash. I like credit spreads. Like I told you today, I like being the house. MGM, Wynn, the Ferrari dealer in Fort Lauderdale. They don't look the way they look, folks, because they're charities and they give away money. They look the way they look because they're the house. I like being the house. And yes, whoever just said that, you could do what I just talked about doing on Tesla. Maybe go out and just buy some, instead, I'm not going to write it. I'm going to show you. Maybe you just go out and buy some damn puts on this thing. Wiz, I think they're in a world of hurt, at least for the short term. Just look at the chart, man. This looks exactly like Tesla. Tesla did this. Hey, I'm bad. We might be bankrupt. Ha ha. And then a dead cat bounce like this. This looks exactly like Tesla, guys. So yes, you could. You could go out. I'd probably only go out I think earnings are going to be good for Facebook, and their guidance is going to be awful. The legal fees alone that Facebook is going to have to spend in. Do you guys remember the hell was the name of the German plane or the airline that crashed? Air Wings or something like that? Does everybody remember the co-pilot in that? What was it? 3 years ago. Captain goes up to use the restroom before they start their approach. Co-pilot locks him out, and he flies right into the side of the mountain and kills everybody. It was Germany. All of the doctors treating that dude had written in their notes, this guy should not be flying. You know what Germany is? If they had told anybody, they would have been thrown in jail. The privacy rules in Germany, not to use this in a pejorative way, are Nazi-ish. So German wings, that's what it is. You're right, German wings. So folks, and when the skipper of a company comes out and says, hey, heads up, fixing Facebook will significantly impact profitability going forward. So if he's saying this, could you imagine what it really is? Will significantly impact earnings. So you just can't be. So yes, whoever said that, you could buy puts. You could put them in a drawer, and when you wake up and this thing really, really implodes, they're looking great. I'm rarely a straight put buyer. I wouldn't do that in this. I would do that in Tesla. I completely agree with JP Morgan. I'd go out, maybe here and buy some absolute disaster puts on Tesla. Let's stick with Facebook. So I'm not going to buy puts. I'm not going to do a bear call spread. You're going to learn a top secret tactic that Tamara, I think Harry, that if you really, really, really are bearish on something, it's called a double vertical, right? And Tamara was telling me she's been pounding Tesla into the dirt. And let me I'll tell you real quick. If you kind of know what options are, you'll get this. A double vertical is a bear call spread. So, hey, man, I don't think it's going to go up. So I'm selling a bear call spread. And then you buy a bear put spread. So you want this thing to really go down. I'm going to teach you that little known top secret tactic called a double vertical when you become a member. It's kind of a, hey, man, this thing's going down and it's on steroids going down. A double vertical. When this thing, I was trying to enjoy a spring break with my kids. When Facebook started to implode, I put it in my videos. I said, folks, pound this thing into the dirt with double verticals. And I got some nice emails and thank you stuff from a lot of members who were like, holy crap, Wiz, that made my year. I don't, like Gunlock said yesterday, he's shorting the stock. When a dude that swings around $100 million assets under management is shorting a stock, he made, I forget how big he said his position is. With the stock being down 3% today, the dude, now he's got 110 million assets under management because he crushed it today being short Facebook. So I'm going to do a tactic called a bear call spread. And I know some of my current members are like, holy crap, Wiz, they have earnings tomorrow. This ain't your father or mother stock market, folks. I never, except for this, trade through earnings. Because we could be right. Look at JP Morgan. Last week I said JP Morgan's gonna have blowout numbers. But I'm feeling a little I said my exact quote is I said it might sell off on the news, and it did. So that's why you don't trade earnings. You can be right and lose money and be wrong, right? I see almost no, I sit here all day. This is what I do. I see almost no scenario where this stock goes up unless, and you would think we would have heard, but then you might go to jail if you leak this. If he resigns on the phone call tomorrow or says I'm moving into a different role, the stock will rally. Okay, so that is a threat to this trade. Don't say I didn't tell you so. If that happens and the trade blows out, I'm going to laugh because that's the one missile in 100 that I'm like, it could be in the target area. I don't think it will. Holy shit, now it's flying up at me and I got to dogfight it. Okay, Fish, I don't know, man. Like I said, if he loves his company, if he loves his baby, and he wants to see it live, he's going to have to get it. I'm telling you, man. Didn't you read my book, Fish? Lead, follower, get out of the way. The dude's got to get out of the way. All right, here we go. So, step one of our trade plan, I'm actually moving. I am moving off. You ready? Here's a historic declaration. I am no longer cautiously bullish on this market. I was cautiously bullish all the way up until last Wednesday in AR, accelerated retirement. And on Thursday, we got long volatility, and here we are. I am no longer cautiously bullish. I am neutral on this market. And that ain't a political answer. That means I literally think we're going to go down to this 200 and we're going to hang. I said Q1 earnings will pull us off the 200 day. It did. Now we have nothing to pull us higher. If anything, we have a Fed meeting coming up, and Jerome Powell could re-prop up the market, but right here, folks, he didn't mind saying, yeah, I'm going to raise interest rates, and the market imploded. The Fed doesn't mind taking the froth out of the market every once in a while. Matter of fact, they think it's part of their unwritten job. So, there you go, Fish. Let's go. So step one, the reason I was bringing that up is my strategic mindset. Step two of our trade plan is to what? Identify your target. There's our target, man, and we're going to kill it. Facebook. Step three is what we call commit criteria. Why are you committing capital to a trade? And when we meet, if you guys become members and you want to come down here on June 30th, we're going to do a live event. If I bump into you at the June 30th event and you tell me, hey, Wiz, I'm in this trade, and I look at you and say, what's your commit criteria? It's kind of like being a pledge. You better be able to rattle off 3 to 5 sentences about why you're in that trade and committing capital. It drives me crazy to, give a keynote to like McKesson. Oh, I'm a trader too. What are you in, Apple? Okay, why? I have an iPhone. That's a stupid answer. Any other reason? You have to hit me with 3 to 5 cents. Not me. You need to hit yourself. Because anytime that commit criteria change, folks, what should you do? Get out of the trade or adjust it. How many times? You got to write this stuff down, guys. And when you become a member and we do these sessions, we're gonna walk through commit criteria for like 30 minutes. This is a quicker discussion, but literally, I'll bump into people who have no real good reasons why they're in a trade, and then if those reasons change, what do? Apple's going to come back. Apple doesn't hate me, folks. Apple doesn't even know who you are. Christ, Apple wouldn't even unlock an iPhone to potentially save your life. They don't. Apple, if it's going to steamroll over you. So if any one of those sentences in your commit criteria change, you're going to either adjust or eject. I'm going to talk about adjust and eject in about 15 minutes. So here we go. Step 4 in our trade plan is whoever wrote that, you're welcome. 25 years ago when I started doing this, I remember seeing a dude at the airport Marriott with I think he had a fake Bolex and a really cheap Armani knockoff. He's like, you need a trade plan. Okay, I'm like looking at everybody else in the room. I'm like, what's yours? Can I have yours? All right, next question. It's in the chat box, folks. And when you opted into these webinars, I gave you like a 12-page trade plan, which if you didn't read, you owe me 50 push-ups. So step 4 of the trade plan is to determine what your the tactic you're going to employ. I talked through this 11 minutes ago, a little bit out of order, but this is going to be a bear call spread. I'm bearish. I'm going to use calls, and it's going to be a spread, as I show you in a couple minutes. How far out am I going to go? I ain't going to tomorrow or Friday because we got earnings. I'm going to go out literally about a month. Let's go out to May. Let me deselect the April. Okay. I'm going to give this a trade a month to work. The reason I'm also giving this a month to work is these reasons. What if I'm wrong? They blow out earnings and the market goes, wow, okay, well, that's pretty damn good. Even if the stock rallies short term, a month from now, Jeffrey Gunlock and me are going to be right. There's going to be more roaches. We saw it pop up today. They were interviewing a dude like, oh my God, yeah. 10,000 Facebook developers got access to your data and they're selling it on the dark web. This is bad news, right? So Harry, yeah, I'm letting my leash out a little bit because look at this. This really looks. Everybody remember Steve Austin, the $6 million man? I grew up watching that show. I love Steve Austin. What I'm getting at is at the beginning with like his crash. The thing like his airplane was out of control and he like tumbles down the runway. This looks like the beginning of the $6 million man. This thing is just like stumbling down the it's a this is why I'm not doing a bearish double vertical because this is a slow motion you got it, Sue. Sue's like Lee Majors. Yep, the Bionic Man. This is a slow motion train wreck, kind of like Lee Majors, rolling down the runway in that ball of dirt. Remember that? It was one of the NASA early lift vehicles. Whatever. All right, and now I'm really rambling. So that's why I'm going out a little bit more, Harry, than just a couple weeks. I'm going out a month because this just looks like it's a slow motion implosion. Was it the X34, Tom? Yeah, I think you're right. So, all right. What strikes should I use, Wiz? Well, here's the Keltner channel, folks. Look at this dead stock. Right here, I said, get out of Facebook, dump it, and get into Amazon. Look at what Facebook did. It went from, let me put my cheaters on, $1.80, 179. You lost $20 in Facebook if you did not listen to me. What did you do if you went into Amazon like I told you to do? Holy crap, man! It went from 964 to the close today of 1460. This is a 70% return. You would have lost 20% on Facebook and you would have made 70% on Amazon. What a great call. I do, Peter. We'll talk volatility in the training and stuff like that. Hubert Senator's smart, dude. I like Hubert a lot. 156.73 is his price target on Facebook. Hubert's 156. Nah, Christ almighty. This is let's go. This is a double bottom right here, folks. This thing is going to test 150. I saw some people talking about that today. Hey, if it breaks if it goes down here with any sort of airspeed, guys, I'm buying disaster puts, and along with this, that's when we'll start double vertical bearish double vertical. We'll pound this into the dirt, like you can do with Tesla. Okay, all right. So, what was that ramble about? Strike selection. Look at the middle of this Keltner channel. What is that? 170. Let's go out and look at the 170. See if there's any premium in the 170. 172.5 bear call spread. Okay. So I just explained why I picked 170. So this is when I sell these calls. You ready? And let me just make sure I'm right on time, which we're pretty good. So in the bear call spread lecture I'm going to give you in, I don't know, 4 or 5 weeks whenever we do our training, I'm going to sit here for an hour and a half and talk through this. I'm going to speed a little bit up here because I don't want to lift my skirt up completely. When you sell calls, when I sell the May 25th 170 calls, I am saying what? Hey, Mark, Facebook, I don't think in a month from now you are going to be back up above 170. I'm selling those calls, right? Well, what if you're wrong, Wiz? I've been wrong. I predicted Trump might hate Jeff Bezos. I didn't get the time right. Got blown out of a spread. I showed you an SPX trade today. That's why I put the VXX hedge on. I'm like, I'm feeling we might go down and the VIX might spike. I've had some I'm not going to say they're bad trades. They were good trades. The commit criteria were solid when we put it on, and guess what? It was one of those Rumsfeld unknown unknowns. So, Wiz, you're wrong, man. The dude resigned. He did resign, and the stock's rallying. A bunch of analysts are upgrading and this and that. That's the other reason, folks. This is a slow dead cat bounce is what? There was a dude on Power Lunch today who was a portfolio manager, and he owns a ton of Facebook. And he looked like an idiot. Pete and Jared, all the other guys were kind of like piling on Facebook. And they're like, all right, so why are you still long it? So don't forget that a ton of analysts or hedge funds, and they thought this was the greatest stock in the world. It prints money. So it's kind of hard to eat your hat when you're wrong. That's why being a Navy fight, we get into a debrief and we rip each other. I have no problems admitting when I goon up. So that's the other reason this is a slow motion implosion is because the liberal media and a lot of portfolio managers just aren't willing to stick a fork in it. I am. But I am wrong. The dude resigns or some good news happens. you sold these calls, Wiz. Well, if you sold these, what is called naked. If I just sold these calls right here, I said, Wiz, I agree, it ain't going above 170. If you just did this trade and my hand's shaking because of this, you ready? You have essentially unlimited risk. Anytime I push this analyze button up here, the first place you're going to go as a TGO member, your eyes are going to be trained for the rest of your life to look at this. Max potential loss. How can I get my ass kicked in this trade? Well, you can lose everything on this trade. Facebook, Jesus Christ can come back to life and all of a sudden say, you know what, I'm long Facebook, and the thing goes to 1 million. You're screwed. So you never, ever, ever sell anything naked in options world, ever. And not only will you never do that, most brokers will never let you do any of this. You need like level 99 options trading clearance. They just don't do it. So what do? We buy some upside calls. So look at this. Look, there is no more max potential loss of infinity and beyond. Look, now our risk is limited. And turns, I think you're in here. You had mentioned your portfolio size before. Here's a perfect example. Before I start taking it up to the contracts that I would do, look at this one. This one is risking $1,900 to potentially make $650. So if you have a smaller account, and again, I can't give you investment advice, maybe you do 10 contracts. But that ain't me. Let me do the math real quick. What is that, 35? So as you're seeing right here, the number of contracts determines what? How much risk you have. It's a little too much. So maybe it is 30. It's right around, that's in the wheelhouse. All right, so let me review this. Here we go. You ready? I'm going to look to sell 30. Why 30, Wiz? I just showed you, and I'll show you in 2 minutes again. The May 25th. Why May 25th, Wiz? I already answered that. The 170 calls. I'm going to buy as a hedge in case Mark Zuckerberg is our savior and the stock has a rip your face off rally. I'm going to buy these upside calls. So we're long above 172.5. If I'm wrong and this thing gets on a horse and gallops into the sunset, our losses are stopped out above 172.5. This tactic, ladies and gentlemen, is called a bear call spread. So even if you just have some of you wrote earlier, like I just do straight calls and puts, I don't know spreads. It's not that hard, man. And like Harry said earlier, one of my longer term members here too, he's like, dude, you have to be paper trading. I did not run out after reading a book, on the F-18 and hop in the cockpit. If I had gotten airborne, I would have been dead in 5 minutes. You go over to the simulator building, man. You strap yourself in the simulator and you give yourself an engine fire. You do all sorts of stuff. Not only is this called a bear call spread, it's also called what? A credit spread. Okay, we take in some scrap. We're getting paid to do this. Remember, whenever you sell anything, you sell your house, you sell your car, you sell whatever, you bring in money. You get a credit. So, and also, guess what? Since these strikes are like this, it's also called a vertical spread. So for all of you who have been like running around, dying to learn how to trade options, why are they called three things? Let's not call it three things. Let's call it a bear call spread. But just to let you know, it's also a credit spread and can also be called a vertical spread. So if somebody's trying to impress you at a cocktail party with the three different names, just tell them what you are. It's a bear call spread, dude. Make sense? All right, let me move on here. Stan, you know what, Stan? I was keeping one eye on the chat box and seeing if anybody was going to pick up on that. And Stan, I say that tongue in cheek, and I'm going to tell you what Stan said, because Stan, I agree with you. Stan said, "Wiz, Jesus Christ is alive. He doesn't need to rise from the dead again." I appreciate that, Stan. I am a practicing Irish Catholic, so I use that I'm trying to figure out what would make this stock rally to the moon. So I'm using that, obviously, Stan, hopefully you could tell tongue in cheek, because I can't figure out that would make it rise. But I appreciate that, Stan. And no offense intended to anybody. I do believe in Jesus Christ, obviously. I picked up my son earlier from CCD. So he's got the confirmation coming up. All right. So we're going to, obviously the market's closed right now, but if you know anything about options basics or just the market, there's a bid. This is the most I'd pay for this. Well, this is what I'm asking for it. This is called the bid-ask spread. You ever hear that? Oh, the bid-ask spread is so wide, or this is the bid and the ask. What is right in the middle, folks? You ready for this piece of rocket surgery? Mid-market, right? Chris and Stan. Christ owns heaven. He doesn't need to trade options like us. I can't wait, man. I want to see my dad and my sister again. So this is a market, folks. Hey, man, I'm paying more than that. Well, we're asking this. I'll tell you what, why don't we meet in the middle? So what I do, folks, and we'll do this live tomorrow in the market, is I send out a range. I'm going to try and get filled on this trade. Oh, geez. My son just showed me a news story that the Boca Raton mayor is being arrested on a criminal charge. That's pretty interesting. I was at a Veterans Day service with that lady. Fish, amen. So I try and get filled on this trade, and I put this in my text alert. You ready? Plus or minus about 5 cents. What does that mean? That means I'd go as low as 60 cents to get filled on this bear call spread. And I'd go as high as 70 cents. This is the range I'm going to try and get filled in, plus or minus 5 cents. I'll put this in the text alert, folks. This is at the end. So here's what's interesting. Don't think that, whoa, Wiz, I got a credit of 70 cents. That's great. That's not great, folks. Why? If you got filled all the way up here at 70 cents, you either way overpaid for it or the stock was climbing back up. The options market pays you to take risk, folks. So if you get filled at 70, well, no, I said plus or minus, let's say 75. So if it's outside of this range, what I'm telling you is that the risk to reward might not be in line with what I like. So I'll cover that in more detail when we, no kidding, do this training, okay? So plus or minus about 5 cents. And folks, fills are like noses. Everybody's got one. We'll sit in a live trade brief and half the room's like, hey, I got filled at this, and this. The other half of the room's like, I still can't get a fill. Folks, in the days of the pits, man, when yelling and pointing, he pointed at the dude next to me. I had the same price that guy had. Maybe he didn't like my hair or didn't like me. So know that I get filled on some trades. I don't get filled on some trades. Whatever. So that's exactly, Harry. Okay. Well, and whoever said that's exactly right. What's going on with Facebook right now as far as volatility? It is it's too late. I mean, it's already, the market's closed, volatility is through the roof. We'll talk about maybe the impact of Vega here in a little bit, but let me finish with the tactic here. So here's what I'm going to do, and it's going to be a little creepy exercise. I want you to picture me, and talking about Jesus Christ is pretty interesting because I want you to picture me as a Catholic nun. I know that's not a nice visual, and if you're eating dinner, you might have just lost your dinner, but you ready for this? Why do I say I went to Catholic grade school? I went to an all-boys Catholic high school in New Jersey. Watch this. I see it. Yikes. Hey, Joe's like, yikes. Here's what I'm getting at. I'm going to click on this button right here, this snapshot analysis button. And when I do, I want you to look at one place and one place only. There's no other place your eyes are going to look. And if they look elsewhere, to some place you shouldn't be looking, I'm going to crack your knuckles like Sister Matthew Catherine. You ready? I want you to look at the sad face. Ready? Go. Max potential loss. Why did I do that? Exactly. Risk. Keith nailed it. Risk. 98% of you, not my members who are in there, but 90% of the new folks, if I'd clicked on that, what's the first thing you guys would have looked at? Holy crap, Wiz, this is a great trade. Look at this. I can make $2,000 in a month. Hell, that's almost a full-time job. That's ooh, let me take one moment to actually slam Amazon a little bit. Speaking of $24,000 in a year, anybody see this? Look at this, man. Amazon's typical worker makes $28,000 a year. That is awful. Well, yeah, exactly, Terry. That's based on my 30 contracts, and you guys are getting the eavesdrop on what I'm doing. What you do on your side of the computer, wearing your bunny slippers and drinking your coffee, is your own business and your RIA or your broker dealer. But look at this, guys. And you know what? In about, I'm going to say, I'm going to say in about 5 years, that dude is going to be gone. I've seen a couple. I used to do consulting 2 years ago for an Amazon fulfillment company near the airport down in Miami. That dude's going to be gone. It's going to be what? Robots. You got it. It's going to be artificial intelligence, man. So I'm not taking time to pound Amazon. Let me give you my flight suit and Gordon Gekko on this. Let me go Gordon Gekko first. Good. I am glad they are paying slave wages. I'm glad they're paying these people 28 grand a year. Work them into the dirt. I hope they're working them 24 hours for 28 grand. Now let me put on my flight suit as an American and say that's an absolute disgrace. I ain't no Bernie Sanders socialist, folks, but Jeff Bezos he can loan money to God. Oh, here we go with the religion stuff. You know what I'm getting at. The dude's, isn't he? Yeah, no, when the stock hit the high, I think he's the richest dude in the world. You're paying these folks 28 grand a year, Jeff Bezos. Are you kidding me? There's your typical limousine liberal. So I gave you my Gordon Gekko impersonation. As a shareholder, greed is good. Greed works. Insert Wall Street, the movie Wall Street speech right there. As an American, I think that's a disgrace. I think that's disgusting. You're right, Harry. It is better than minimum wage. All right, sorry for bashing Amazon. But anyway, so as Terrence said, Wiz, so folks, this $5,500 at risk is based on what? 30 contracts, okay? If you're sitting there going, holy crap, Wiz, I know your SOP. You're going to teach me about your SOP. With a $100,000 model portfolio, you don't want to risk 5% on any one trade. That's me, guys. I think when I first started trading options, first of all, I didn't know what the hell my max risk was until I lost on a trade. I'm like, son of a what? How much? Oh, maybe as a fighter pilot, I do this on a daily basis. Why don't I start applying when I do flying an airplane? Idiot. So I started. So you might be 2.5%. You might be 10%. I don't know. But this has to be defined by you. You are the pilot in command of your portfolio. It ain't me. Literally, ladies and gentlemen, before you go flying in the F-18, you go down to maintenance control. The chief hands you a phone book, literally almost a phone book size of all the maintenance, the fuel, everything. You read through it, and he gripes on the airplane, this ain't working or this is acting up. And at the end of it, there's a page that has name, date, and rank. You literally sign for the airplane. I own that jet. Lieutenant Edward Matthew Buckley with the date. So you own this. That ain't me, man. You own it. If you are not comfortable with that max potential loss, what do? You either don't do the trade or to Terrence's point, you don't do that. You don't do 30 contracts. Wiz, I'm doing 10. Wiz, I'm doing 100. Wiz, I'm doing 1,000. Wiz, I'm doing 1. It's whatever, man. I'm showing you what I am doing, okay? But you have got to learn to look at this person first. And I get everybody trades. Some people are flying F-16s over at Thinkorswim. Somebody's in an 810 at TD Ameritrade or whatever. Or I'm at Gorilla Trader. What you need to know your max risk in the damn trade. Okay. So there you go. Harry's like, I usually do just half of your contracts. That's awesome. So 2-ton. John, we'll talk about that. Nina, we talked to Nina. Maybe you showed up late. I talked for about an hour about Facebook earnings and why I'm actually doing this trade. It ain't an earnings trade for me. This is a past an earnings trade. I don't even. The only watch the replay. All right, now it's not that I'm okay with this. Trust me, man. My losing SPX trade I have on right now. I ain't happy with losing $5,000, but I understood that was the risk when I put this trade on. If I can get a vertical head nod and go, all right, well, that's going to suck if that happens, but I'm cool. We cool. It ain't going to blow me out. I'm going to live to fight another day. Now you can pick your eyes up and look at what? Mr. Happy Face or Mrs. Happy Face up here and say, there, and you see these probabilities right here, folks, right there, and right here. This is you calculated using at the money volatility. Obviously the market's closed, but this is awesome. There's a 73% probability this trade is going to make $2,000 in a month. What are the odds in Vegas, folks, that you win? If you break even in Vegas, you're technically winning. So let's just, if you'll allow me, there's a 74% probability that you at least break even. So if you'll allow me to round up to 75%, thank you. 3 out of 4 times you do this trade, you're going to make the max profit. Those are, now you know why I don't go to Vegas, or I do go to Vegas and I have a blast. I don't gamble. This ain't gambling, folks. 3 out of 4 times you're going to tell me I could potentially make max profit. Yeah, but do the math, folks. 3 times 2 is what? 6. Right? Oh, well, 3 times. Well, that's awesome, Liz. I can make $6,000 3 times I do this trade. Well, the one time if you're not paying attention to it and you get blown out, you're going to lose you're going to lose 5. So net, you're up 1. So what are we going to do? Are we just going to set it and forget it? I do most of the time because I believe in my strategic mindset. You know what? Let me cover this real quick before I get into adjusting or ejecting from a trade. You see this blue line here? This is Facebook. This is currently the price of Facebook. You see it down here? There's the stock price. This is why you're going to join TGO and be an options trader. If you're bearish on the stock like Jeffrey Gundlach, you know how he makes money? One way, the stock going down. If this thing turns around on him, Jeffrey Gundlach's losing some serious cash. That's a stock trader, man, and they're suckers. You're an options trader now, man. You look at this. We make money 3 ways in this trade. Facebook, obviously, we want it to go down. If that line starts going to the left, it's the Steve Austin $6 million man tumbling down the runway, and it sucks. We're happy. We laugh. We grab our popcorn and watch the Mark Zuckerberg tap dance show. So we make money if the stock goes down. Well, Wiz, what if it just kind of hangs out here? Look at this. If the stock hangs out here, we make money. I'm going to talk to you in a second about a Greek. Oh boy, Greeks, options trading. I'm not going to glaze your eyes over with Greeks, man. You don't need to know. I'll tell you what you need to know, man. It's like naval. It's funny, man. I had buddies in college who were like, they listened to the Navy. The Navy's like, you want to be a fighter pilot, you have to be a mechanical engineer or aerospace engineer. You have to be a booger eater. I had a friend of mine. We lived in Atlantic City, and we used to host the Naval Academy sailing team when they'd come up and they'd crash at our house. I stayed friends with some of the kids, and when they graduated and went to flight school, they gave me the heads up. The one dude was a forestry major. He was a forestry major. And I remember calling him. I'm like, hey, this lieutenant in the Navy ROTC unit saying I got to be a mechanical engineer. He's like, don't listen to him. He's lying. Do it. I'm like, I love politics. He's like, go political science, drink your way through college, have fun. Your mechanical engineering buddies are going to put a bullet in their head. Sorry for this tangent. I enjoy this. This is what the sessions are like at night because we have fun. I remember landing on board the USS Constellation. We were doing some exercise, and I'm in the wardroom getting some dinner, and I get tapped on the shoulder, and I turn around, and I didn't even recognize the dude. He looked like he just came from the coal mine. He had like an engineering suit on. He was a buddy of mine that I went through ROTC with. He studied his ass off for 4 years, mechanical engineer, got like a 2.4. I think I had like a 3.5 or something like that. He didn't get aviation. He got boat driver. He worked in the engine room on the Constellation. He's like, hey, Matt. He didn't call me Wiz because he didn't know what my call sign was. He's like, hey, Matt Buckley. I'm like, oh my God. So anyway, I have no idea why I told you that. But here's the last way we make money on this trade. Facebook can even go up. Whoa, Wiz, you're blowing my mind. What do you mean it can go up? As long as it stays below 170.65, which is right there, we make money. So with a bear call spread, we make money 3 ways in this trade, man. And obviously what's it doing after hours? Hold on a second. Let me close some of this stuff. It is up, it's up, I don't know, 58 cents, whatever. So isn't this a cool tactic, ladies and gentlemen? This is an awesome, awesome, awesome looking trade. Now let me click on this button down here. It says Analyze in TradeLab. This is some pretty cool tools. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to take a look at a Greek call. So here's the risk metrics, right? So this is awesome. In our trade planning process, we always need to ask, what if X happens? What if Y happens? What if this or blah, blah? You can sit here and play with stuff. So take a look at this. The only Greek I really want you to be worried, don't worry about Vega. Vega's volatility. Duh. VV Vega. Got it. All right. Lesson on Vega is over with. Theta is time decay. If you've ever purchased a car in your life, you know what theta is, don't you? I just brought this brand new midlife crisis Ferrari in the Fort Lauderdale Ferrari dealer. 250 grand. As soon as you pulled out of that thing to go get cocktails, it's worth 210 grand. It's time decay. So the dude who bought the car, the buyer, theta negatively impacts when you buy something, right? So theta is time decay. You don't like it if you buy something. What are we doing in this spread? We're selling a bear call spread. You want to be the Ferrari dealer with a dude coming in a midlife crisis. Why? I want you to keep your eyes right here. You see theta right there? Let me grab my mouse back. You ready? Look up here. So tomorrow, there's tomorrow. Let's hop in my F-18 and go forward in time. Stare down there at theta. What happens? And this is, the stock ain't going up. I'm just moving the stock laterally. What happens? You make money. Look at $50. And obviously the closer you get to expiration, what? Theta accelerates. Time decay accelerates, right? Look at that. This is another wizism you're going to learn here. Unched. UNCHD. This is short. This is Wall Street term for what? Unchanged. I call it unched, or we all call it unched in the options world. You ready for this wizism? Unched on the day equals time decay. I will repeat that. Unched, UNCHD. If you look at Facebook at the end of the day, the ticker at the bottom, and it says unched, unchanged. You made money. So Jeffrey Gundlach, if Facebook is unched tomorrow, he didn't make money shorting the stock because it didn't go down. We do. When you sell something, you make theta, you make time decay. Isn't that awesome? You got it, Harry. Unched on the day equals time decay. You bet, Kerry. Everything's recorded, folks. I'm getting close to, we have a little bit more time. I need to wrap up this tactic. Again, guys, if you missed anything, everything's on the replay page right here. This is going to be posted on the replay page in a little bit after I get something neat. But here, yes, who asked that? Kerry. Kerry, here is the replay page right there. Harry, how many wizisms we have, Tamara? Harry's asking, there's a lot of wizisms, but exactly. When I left Peak Six Investments, they had an internal wiki page, one of our employee pages. I think it had 92 wizisms. I'd throw stuff out there and people would I didn't know I threw something out there, and all of a sudden it ends up on our wiki page. So there's some really cool stuff here, man. And you can look, this is really neat, like the spectral slice and this stuff. I'm going to tell you something. If you're new and you're looking at this stuff going, oh my God, man, what the hell did I get myself into? I'm going to tell you, you need really none of this. Brokers, they add a lot of, I'm going to tell you something about the JSF right now, the Joint Strike Fighter. We laughed earlier about how Israel has been flying their Joint Strike Fighter over Iran, and with the Russian S-300 500 air defense system, they can't see them. What am I saying? The Joint Strike Fighter is so advanced that it actually limits what it tells the pilot when during certain part. It's the HAL 2000 or whatever, a Space Odyssey. It knows not to tell the pilot, or airplanes are starting to be limited by the people, man. It ain't the airplane's got to slow down a little bit and go, all right, I need to wait for Wiz to catch up, man. He's not the sharpest tool in the shed. Why am I ranting about this? Is because don't sit here and look at all this Vega, this and that. I need to look at. You don't. Okay, this ain't rocket surgery, man. And I think back in the day when a bunch of rich white dudes came up with options, smoking their cigars in the early '80s in Chicago, I think they almost intentionally made it. Ooh, this is really creepy, and it's you have to be smart, and it's dangerous, because they didn't want any retail traders to into it. Isn't it funny? So HAL 900 IBM equals, the next letter in the sequence, Salim. I did not know that. It does sound like Skynet. So anyway, guys, hour and a half. I did not mean to. There are 2 points in a trade. Let me breeze through this, man. And I don't breeze through this when we do our actual training, when you become a member. There are 2 points in a trade. I call them the adjust, I'm going to run out of room there. Write this down. And it's in the trade plan that you have downloaded. Adjust, that's the point, that's the price in the trade where I kind of scratch my chin and I go, why is Facebook going up? And should I adjust this trade right now? And then I have a price in the trade. If I wake up one day and Facebook is screaming through the roof, I need to close it. I use aviation terms, folks, right? Should I eject out of this trade and not? You don't want to take that max loss, guys. You don't want to take that $5,500. Sometimes it happens. My SPX bull put spread, in the blink of an eye, the market decided to roll over, and sometimes you get hit by that missile. So I'm going to teach you in the training. Let me start with the eject point. This is easy math, and I'm a political science major. I wasn't that mechanical engineer, and I wasn't down in the bowels of the engine room of the Constellation. But here's my rule of thumb to eject. Because remember, folks, when we sold this Ferrari for 65 cents, we want to keep every one of these 65 cents. We want this spread to expire what's called worthless. We want this to be on, what is that, May 25th. We want this credit to be, we want it to be zero. Every day that goes by, we get some theta. We want this to go to zero. We want this credit in our pocket. If you wake up one day and this trade is now valued at, like, say, 80 cents, why is Facebook climbing, right? So let me erase all this stuff real quick, because here's the easy math. How do I calculate my eject point? I double the credit that I take in. So that would be $1.30. If I wake up one day, or I come back from going on a run, and Mark Zuckerberg, again, let's just stick. I know we're all cool here. The Jesus Christ analogy. Jesus Christ is alive, and he decides to invest in Facebook, and it goes up to $1,000. But it's starting to zip up, and it hits eject. That's a good rule of thumb, is to double the credit you take in. We want it to go to zero. We want all of these 65 senses, right? If it's double that, you don't want to sit here and fly into the side of a mountain, guys. There's no point to say, well, my max risk is $5,500. I'm gonna go. No, man. Maybe eject at double the credit you took in. Okay, and I'm not ignoring your questions. Again, during the real brief on this, I'm going to answer everybody's, but a lot of good questions here. The eject point, if the eject point out here is at $1.30, and that's the no kidding, holy crap, I'm on fire, both engines are flamed out, it's time to get out of this trade. Well, there's probably a point before that, right? I call the adjust point, and it's about 75% of that credit that I take in. So maybe, what's that? Maybe about $1. Was that about $1.05? So maybe around $1.05, folks. If this trade starts being valued, goes up here to about $1.05, that's when I take off my glasses and I look at what's going on, and I go, should I adjust this trade? Okay, and I'm going to cover very, very quickly ways you can potentially adjust this spread. Now, look at how much time I'm talking about things going bad. Options traders, Hornet pilots, doctors, attorneys, what do? We sit here in our brief before we get in the ring and we say, what? How are we going to get smoked? If you sit here and, with your unicorn, stuffed animal on your lap thinking everything's sunshine and lollipops, and you get kicked in the gut with a max loss, it's going to suck. I'm not Eeyore from Winnie the Pooh, but I look at all the bad stuff that could happen, right? Obviously, we want the good to happen. And I briefed you today with credit spreads. I use the 7-8-9 rule. If you're seeing a 70, 80, or 90% gain in a credit spread, folks, close the dam. Take them, like the guy in the song said, go on, take the money and run. Do not sit here and say, especially, if you make this in like a couple weeks, or even we talked today about our VXX bull put spread from Thursday. It was up 50%, $2,400 in 3 days. That was getting close to my, hey, if I can make 50% in 3 days, maybe I should close it. The reason I didn't close this one was what? I think we're going lower by Friday. But my point being is I'm focusing on the negative, because when it doesn't happen, we can be pleasantly surprised and be happy, okay? So here's how you can potentially adjust a spread, a bear call spread. There's 3 ways to do this, essentially. Well, you know what? 4. The first way to potentially adjust it is to get out of it. Well, Wiz, I thought we have an eject level. If this thing starts imploding, why sit there and go, well, it's at my adjust point. Maybe I should. If this thing's zipping downhill on fire with both engines out, don't wait for your eject point. Get out of it early. So the first way to adjust this trade, if it's going against us and it has some velocity to the downside, get out of the damn plane. Give it back to the taxpayers. That's the first way to adjust it. You know what, Wiz? Facebook's starting to go up, and I'm starting to lose a little money. It's at my adjust point, but I think it just needs a little bit more time to work, maybe another week. What we could do is roll this trade out, it's called. And if I'm losing you, don't worry about it. We'll spend 2 hours talking about this. But you can roll this trade out maybe another week and give it more time to work. Wiz, I think this is a short-term rally. I think it's coming back a little bit, but dude, it's doing that Steve Austin. It ain't going to get above that Keltner channel. Then if it's at your adjust price, maybe you just roll the spread out a week. And on your brokerage platforms, it's caveman-like, folks. This one you hit roll out, and it'll roll it out. What else could we do? You know what, Wiz? It is climbing, but I think this Keltner channel is going to do this. It's going to maybe go above it a little bit and then retreat. Maybe you roll the spread up, right? So the first way to potentially adjust it was to roll it out. You know what? I'm going to give it another week. The next way to do it is maybe I'm going to keep it for that Friday expiration, but I'm just going to go up a couple bucks. This is called rolling it up. And again, most brokerage platforms go, when the trade is live, you just go click, I'm going to roll this up a couple bucks. That's called rolling it up. Now, if you're semi-smart, you're probably going to know where the last potential thing is. You can do both of those things. Wiz, I think it needs another week, and I think I need a little bit of altitude, a little bit more altitude. That's called rolling it up and out. Now, I'm going to send you a text alert. If I'm going to adjust something, I send out hey, folks, Facebook, here's the text. Facebook is at my adjust level. I'm going to roll it up, or I'm going to roll it out, or I'm going to roll it up or out. Or I'm closing it. Hey, man, this thing's heading uphill real quick. Good news out of Facebook today. I'm going to close it. Now, does that make sense to everybody? And again, there's 9,000 great questions in here. I'm going to tell you, and let me just show you instead of telling you, we're going to sit in here. I had to eat up about, 30, 40 minutes on a bunch of all this stuff and questions and other things like that. But look at the member pages here. Oops, let me bring this up. So in about 3 or 4 weeks when we start our 8, it's like I usually do it like twice a week. So, Tuesdays and Thursday nights from like 7 to 9. So when you join, you're going to get access to February's training. So here it is right here. There you go. Full throttle session 5, bearish vertical spreads. We sat in here. What am I? Oh, that's a win trade in there. So this is a hour and a half to 2 hour session. You can, as soon as you join, you're going to get access to these. Here is your homework as soon as you join. Start watching these, folks. And if you're sitting here going, dude, you lost me at the word call, start right here. Well, actually, full throttle session, the first live session we're going to do is what? This is where I do my intelligence gathering. This is our trade plan. Watch that one. Then go to session number 2 and do options basics. This is no kidding. This is a call. This is a put. So you're going to get 8 sessions. So I don't want to go too much longer because we've been going for an hour and 38 minutes because at the hour and a half point, I know people get saturated. So with all these good, I'll take a look at the questions box and see if I can answer them super, super quickly. Just know this. This is why we only take 25 people. Because if there's 900 people in bear call spread training, I'd be here till midnight. And I would do that because a good instructor doesn't go anywhere until every question mark disappears off of everybody's head. Okay, so let me do this. Let me actually pull up the question box and see if there's good stuff I can answer. Throughout this webinar, this thing's been sitting here vibrating, which means people are getting your slots. So for example, Francisco Torres, San Ysidro, love San Ysidro, California. So welcome aboard. So guys, I don't even, No, I don't think we got all 25 yet. We will by tomorrow afternoon, folks. So here's what you need to do. You either need to go and grab a full throttle spot, and Uncle Wiz is saying right here, Max Afterburner is where 85% of our members are, right here, $295 a month or $29.95 for a year. Wiz, that's pretty damn cheap. We used to sell it for about $9,000. I showed you today that in 3 days our VXX trade was up $3,000. With what was it, 5,200 in risk? Yeah, we were risking 5,200 bucks, and the trade was up $3,000 today. If volatility stays where it is by Friday, that trade will make 4,800 bucks. That's one trade, folks, that more or less is paying for an annual Full Throttle membership. Okay, so let me put the Full Throttle link in here, and if you do the Full Throttle, folks, you're going to get access. Oh, there's my book. Somebody just said you never posted your book link. All right, now I'm going to hit you with 50,000 links. Everything's in the chat box. That was stupid. And here's the Options Weapon School. The only difference between Full Throttle and Options Weapon School, folks, is it's cheaper, but it's also less services. Funny how that works, man. It's called capitalism. So everything is in the chat box right there. All the links to grab your slots. So, Harry, I love the stuff. Your other trade, exactly. Harry, I put the donation link in the. If you wanted to donate to Mad Harry, I put that in there for you. Let me pull this up right here. It's right here, right there. So I put the link right here to Mad Harry. I appreciate your donation. That's awesome, man. All right, guys, let me scroll back through this chat box here and see if I can answer some of these good questions. Edmund, I appreciate that, man. If you don't mind, I'm gonna show people that one. There you go, guys. So there's Edmund. Edmund is one of, I didn't get the whole comment. Edmund is actually one of my Commodores Club coaching clients. He and I talk every couple weeks, take a look at his portfolio. We do some good stuff, Edmund and I. And Edmund came here because of one of his best friends, Brian, was here as a trader, and he said, "Hey man, you got to come to TGO. It's the damn best decision I've ever made in my trading life. Joined in January, sign up for Full Throttle. You won't regret it." Thank you, Edmund. I appreciate that. I hope you had a good time in New York. All right, let's get to some questions here. Fish says ditto. Let me scroll up here and see some of the trading questions. Adam, yes, the sad part is so many are long calls hoping for a pop after earnings. I'm telling you, man, you're right. The put to call ratio was 2 to 1. I can be wrong. He can resign tomorrow. Something great can happen tomorrow, but I still think that's why I went out a month. The market has a very short-term memory, folks. A month is actually a long time for this thing to really roll over there. Okay, so I agreed. I agree. Good. Bear calls for. Oh, let me scroll down. Too good. So Deborah, that's a good question. I did a $2.50 wide spread. Why did I do that? Because a $5 wide spread. Hey man, you could have more reward. There's also more risk. The options market ain't stupid, man. It's been around for a while and it's very, very efficient, right? So you'll get paid more to take it to do that, but you're taking on more risk. A $5 wide spread, the stock could definitely hit the middle of that thing. So I'm usually, if it's 50 cent, I'm usually a 50 cent guy. If it's a $2.50, I'm 2.5. But sometimes like trading SPX, sometimes there's only like even my darling Raytheon here. We had weeklies for a while, and then all of a sudden the weeklies went away. Look at this. We were printing money trading Raytheon weeklies. Look at this. Anybody see any weeklies up here? No, they went away. It's up to the company, folks. The company decides whether or not they talk to the SIBO, but weekly options went away for some reason on this damn thing. But here's what I'm talking about that. Look at this. Down here, they have $5 wide strikes. Up above 200, it's $10 wide. So very good question, Deborah. I will cover that in the training, why I do 50 cent or 2.5 versus what wider. Very good question. Yes, I covered that. Vasily, for one contract, I get 65 with the risk to lose 185 risk to reward. Vasily, I think you were selling the 172.5s and buying the 170s. I think you had it reversed. That's probably why you reversed. Salim, I appreciate that. So Salim had to bail out, but that's what Salim says. follow Wiz's counsel. You will win far more than you ever lose. Thank you, Salim. Maybe you're watching me on the replay, but I appreciate your kind words. All right, a couple more. And again, folks, we usually do go this long in the night sessions just because we have time. Sam, I think I covered that one. Wiz, what if Facebook rises after earnings? I think even if we get a pop, it's going to drop. It's a dead cat bounce. Virginia, yeah, you can call it a stop loss, you could call it or whatever. Those are just my two terms, adjust and eject. You can put in a stop loss, good to cancel type of thing. Yeah, you can do that. Sam, how do we protect our account if Facebook rises after earnings? If you're creeped out about that, right, that it actually is going to rise, we can do what are called repair trades and all sorts of stuff. I would sit on my hands, and Sam, I call them lucky strike moments. You ever watch these old World War II movies where, the guy gets shot in the chest or shot in the head and screams for the medic, and the medic runs up, and what's he give him? A lucky strike. I'm like, so it's like, okay, man, I'm shot in the chest, and the medics give me a lucky strike. Sam, I call these lucky strike moments. If Facebook pops after earnings tomorrow, for whatever the reason would be, it might even, you ready? You know what, Sam? Good question. This might even be a short squeeze tomorrow, guys. Wiz, you were right. It was abysmal earnings, or it's the guidance was awful, but the stock popped. You know why this could happen? Jeffrey Gunlock's a good dude, but there's also a lot of people in the investment community that ain't his biggest friend. They might try and short squeeze him out. But remember, ladies and gentlemen, short squeezes end. Remember, to get out of your short, if you short a stock, you got to go buy it. It's almost counterintuitive. Wait a minute, you're betting it's going to go down, and if it goes up, you got to go buy the stock? Yeah, that's what a short. Let me show you an example of a short squeeze, guys. Is Wynn. It was a win back when, we heard that they settled a lawsuit and something like that. This was a perfect short squeeze right here. This gap was a short squeeze, and we had, what was it, the 190 or 190, 192 and a half bear call spread or something like that. This was a lucky strike moment. I said, and that's exactly right, Steve. I said, grab your lucky strikes, folks. This is a short squeeze, but they end. Right after all the shorts go and buy and they flatten their positions, what happens? It resumes its downward slide there. So even if it does go up after earnings and we see a pop there, Sam, I'm going to have a lucky strike. Actually, I don't even, because Murphy's Law says it goes up after earnings just because we put this trade on. But I'm going to sit on my hands and watch it. All right, Mike. Yeah. Mike, you're right. I usually don't roll, especially I usually don't like the roll spreads, especially if they're for debit. It's now I'd rather either just close that trade or put on a repair trade. Okay. Since this is aftermarket, do you enter 15 minutes into the opening session? 30 minutes. Jeff, good question. No. All right, we'll go just for a couple more minutes, guys, and I appreciate that. Hopefully, you got a lot out of this, man. You're going to get 8 of these type of sessions, starting with here's where I get my intelligence and ending with this is an iron condor. Hopefully, but Jeff, listen to me. Professional traders like us up in Chicago, what do we call the first hour of trading? It's 30 minutes usually, but what's the first hour of trading? That's exactly right. It's called amateur hour. Do not do any trading there's people put in orders overnight, and the price discovery usually doesn't happen until about 10 o'clock, man, or 10:30. So Jeff, I would not. This is a good looking trade, but Jeff, I'd wait until 10:30 tomorrow morning to take a look at what this thing's doing. Does that make sense? Don't trade during amateur hour. Watch. Get a Wiz. I've been trying Ted. Ted, let me talk to you about that, because I think I can put you in touch with somebody that can hook you up. They're actually members here. I haven't seen that. Where are the Barnes boys? Fred and Andrew, man. They're RIAs out in California, and they're good dudes. They're members here, and they might be able to hook you up. All right. And you know what? The rest is, there's a lot of good stuff here. Mike, another example of a short squeeze is Tesla from June 2010 to the present. I love it. Terrence, I love the way you teach. I'll be back in the fall. Good, Terrence, good luck with whatever you're doing, my friend, and we'll definitely have a full throttle or an options weapon school during that time frame. So it's amateur hour. All right, guys. Again, this is probably a bit, even for a vertical spread. This is a little bit longer. So again, real quickly, I haven't done the math yet about how many slots we have, but either way, we're going to do our weekly options brief tomorrow. We don't do weekly options briefs on Wednesday. This is because we're doing this options weapon school. So if you're a member, you already got the email from support. If you're a member, you're currently a member, we're going to do accelerated retirement on Friday. We usually don't do any live trade briefs on Friday. That's my kind of spare day, just in case we move stuff around. So this week, members who are in accelerated retirement, I'll see you guys on Friday. Well, you're going to get the invite tomorrow for weekly options anyway. Weekly options, folks, we usually do Mondays at 1. Just like I showed you last week, our Amazon one-day bull put spread for $2,200 gain, man, that was awesome. Okay. Kerry, I do not, man. I do not do cryptocurrencies. I read about them. I got buddies that do that. You know when I'm going to get into cryptocurrencies, Kerry, is when they start having options on them. That's when I know that the things are accepted. Until then, it's bad. You bet, Mike. You have a good night too. Fish. I won't post that comment, but I appreciate the compliment. So, all right, folks. So 1 o'clock tomorrow, we're going to do weekly options. Even if we fill all of our 25 slots up tonight, I'll still do it. Why? Because I love this stuff and I'm very passionate about what we do. You're welcome. Absolutely, Terrence, and good luck there. And we'll have a slot when you get back. The replay will be posted on this page shortly. And go grab your slots, man. Either grab Options Weapons School or grab Full Throttle. Those are the two things that we do here. And if you are going to go Full Throttle, which I just like the name of it, do the maximum. You're welcome, Bob. I appreciate the compliment. Hopefully, and good. I'm seeing a lot of folks, and if you're new and you don't even know what a spread is, I'm seeing folks saying that I cleared a lot of stuff up then. Doug, do you send out trade alerts to the entire member base, or no? They're segregated. That's a good question, Bob. So, folks, if you saw today, I sent out a trade alert. It started with PLTB, right? So the text alert I sent out today, it started with these 4 letters: primary live trade brief. So only people in the primary live trade brief service get that text. I'll start a text next Monday with WO, and that in that text that means the weekly options. AR doesn't get text alerts, folks. Why? Because they're they ain't that timely critical. AYT, analyze your trade and debrief, gets text alerts. So text alerts, text alerts, text alerts. So yes, Bob, they're segregated by your service. I don't blast trades out to people that aren't paying for the service. Yeah, Kevin, we're going to talk about the Amazon bull put spread. It might be time for a repair trade on that one as well. No, you don't, Kerry. If you've registered once for Options Weapon School, you automatically get an email an hour, just like you did tonight. You got an email an hour before the webinar. It automatically fires to you for tomorrow's link, so you don't need to re-register, okay, or contact support for a link. And folks, if you're sold, man, you know what, Wiz? I love the live trade brief today. The welcome aboard last night. I just wanted to see your training style. Now you've seen it. I'm just, most places would have shut down. They would have done the thing Monday night and tried to sell you on stuff. I didn't even tell you how to become a member Monday night or today until later in the session, because I wanted you need to see this stuff, man. You need to know who the hell your instructor is and how their teaching style. And if you enjoyed this tonight and you learned a little bit, then welcome aboard. You're going to get 8 of these sessions. It's 4 weeks. Thursday, Tuesdays and Thursday nights, or sometimes we move them around if I got hockey or the kids got stuff, but that's usually when we do it, okay? So grab your slot, folks. Virginia, thank you for that. Thanks for your service to make America safe. That's awesome. So, all right, guys. Have a great rest of your night. I'm going to grab a glass of wine. I'm going to wait for this thing to render this recording. It takes about 20 to 30 minutes, and then I'm going to post it on the replay page. If you didn't see last night's welcome aboard brief, it's right here. Please watch it. My background, all sorts of other stuff, and the sectors we're trading. And then today we covered a Raytheon trade all the way out to January of 2020. And we also looked at vol. This was a great session today, guys. And I'm not just saying that. We had a great time talking about volatility today, because we watched it live. The market rolled over, and when the Dow went down from being down 150 to like down 600, and the VIX was up 15%. Watch today's replay if you didn't see it. All right, guys. Again, we're probably down to about maybe 9 or 10 slots, and we're going to have those full by tomorrow. But even if we fill them overnight, I'll still see you guys tomorrow at 1 o'clock, or I'll see you on the replay page. You bet, Jack. Have a great rest of your night. Happy hunting. Make sure you hedge. God bless. Jesus Christ is alive, and He is our Savior. And I will I will talk to you guys tomorrow. We'll see you.